Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Friday, July 18th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Texas game in 43 days, the game against Michigan in 134 days. If you're planning your next event, make it unforgettable with Grateful Griddle, Columbus's favorite food truck, serving up smash burgers, gourmet sandwiches, and good vibes. Book your catering today at gratefulgriddleoh.com. A little bit of news before we get into the topic of today's show. Wide receiver Jaquaden Guilford is set to make his commitment on Friday. You can keep an eye out for a potential breaking news show from your friends at Buckeye Huddle on Friday. If he does commit to Ohio State, that'll come out on the Skull Session Recruiting podcast feed, as well as our YouTube channel. And if it does, we'll probably use that as a bonus show in either this feed or the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed as well. All right, so now on to the topic of today's show. And we're back to talking about the House settlement. And just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, no, not necessarily. So what's this going to mean for the future? Well, we're going to try and sort that out today with our buddy Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeHuddle.com. There is some new reporting from Ross Dellenger on a whole bunch of this stuff. New folks in Washington are weighing in on all of this stuff. Tony, let's start with sort of where things picked up. Pick things up where we left off the last time. The House settlement went into effect. Then Congress decided, okay, we're going to do. We're going to have the SCORE Act, so that's going to solve things. That's where we left things. That Congress was maybe going to weigh in on this stuff, but now we got to go back. Now the stuff we thought was settled. The House settlement, it's right in there. Settlement. It's right in the word settlement. We thought, okay, this is settled. Great. No. So now the sides are fighting about exactly what collectives can and can't do. And what we thought was settled is maybe not so settled.
Yeah, the NIL Go and the College Sports Commission arm of the NIL, are these legit? You put in your NIL package or your your deal, your endorsement deal or whatever. You submit it to NIL Go, and a lot of these were getting pushed back. The collective-based deals are getting pushed back, and then there was like a memo sent out to the schools or to the collectives and just anybody who wanted it, basically saying that collectives aren't like a legitimate business, and so don't try to submit stuff where the collective will create a school or a signing, an autograph signing, for the very purpose of paying the players. And it's like that under the NIL Go and their rules and the College Sports Commission rules, that's not that's not a legitimate business. You can't have a business that is only meant to just pay the players for their existence, basically. And so the attorneys and the plaintiffs, the House settlement, are like, whoa, why not? And so that's kind of where we are now. And there's discussion with attorneys about should collectives be considered legitimate businesses. And the entire point of the House settlement and coming up with these rules and the SCORE Act is that basically they aren't really legitimate businesses, but attorneys are talking now. And so we'll see what happens. I think if they are meant to, or if they're allowed to be legitimate businesses, then people say, well, it's just going to go back to the Wild West. But at least you'll know the rules if it does go back to that.
Yeah, and this week, Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, was talking at SEC Media Days and basically sort of reiterated that, no, his understanding is that the collectives are not really supposed to be, they're not really legitimate in the NIL world. So where that could end up is the two sides are talking and they're sort of sorting stuff out. This could end up going back in front of a judge, not necessarily the same judge. There's a different judge who's potentially going to be administrating this whole thing. So it could go back in front of a judge to get settled there. So that is one possible way that this could all get sorted out. What's the timeline on that? Shrug emoji. We love the shrug emoji. So we're getting to use it a lot these days in college sports. So heck, what's one more time? So
let me ask you, Tom, like what's the point of settling for the NCAA or the College Sports Commission if they can just leave it up to a magistrate, and then maybe the magistrate may give them their way. The magistrate may side with the NCAA and the College Sports Commission and NIL Go. So why would they just go ahead and agree to the plaintiff's demands if they could get a judgment on their side.
Well, and then you could make the exact same argument from the players/agent side, which is, why would they settle if the magistrate could decide to, allow this to continue to be a thing? So, yeah, no one is really incentivized to settle here. Everyone is sort of incentivized to dig in, and then, and I don't know how much you're going to be able to split the baby on this one, where you can sort of find some middle ground compromise that leaves everyone equal parts mad and happy. I don't know where that line would really be in this case. So that may mean, congratulations, you get to go back before a judge again, and we'll get to wait out another court decision. So that's one possibility on how this all gets settled. The second thing is the thing we talked about the last time, which is the SCORE Act. That was the legislation that was kind of getting fast-tracked in Congress. And it was, you sort of looked at it, and there was a lot of it that was, boy, this is a lot of the stuff that the NCAA and the schools would like. And, are the players getting enough in this deal? And there was, some initial pushback already from Congress on some preliminary stuff there. And we played a clip from some congressman the last time we talked about this. But it feels like that's now getting some additional pushback. And so maybe that may not be able to be the solution here.
Yeah, and as we've said before, this is all, I guess, part of the process. These are the steps that you need to take, and it's just going to be part of the discussion. Like you've got a base here, and now you build upon it to where you get something where everybody is happy enough, as you said. But the fact that it was bipartisan was good, because you're not just ignoring one party, but you still have to get the rest of the party on board, and keep the lawyers at bay. And so, yeah, this is a living organism that you're trying to basically cage so that it doesn't get any larger. I think that's how you're supposed to raise chinchillas. Basically, don't let them out of the cage; they'll just run over your house. So, just trying to get all of this under control in various steps. And of course, Tom, there's another step coming that's going to try to help as well.
Yeah, so now that we have two sides very angry and yelling at each other, Tony, what is going to be, who can step in and save the day and unite the people? Tony, you'd hope it would be someone whose name would not inspire, strong emotions in both directions from everyone involved in the United States. Tony, great news, Tony. Thursday, Ross Dellenger reporting that the president of the United States, you know him, you have whatever feelings you have about him, pro or con, whatever feelings you have, I'm sure you have them. So he is now looking at trying to issue an executive order, doing something from the executive branch rather than the legislative branch. Tony, we have hit the legislative branch, we have hit the judicial branch. What the heck? Let's make it a hat trick. We'll hit the executive branch. How is the executive branch potentially going to solve this issue?
Well, an executive order is a strong suggestion, basically, but the point would be to, one, provide college leaders with protection from antitrust laws, which is one of the major concerns through this whole thing. Prevent unqualified and unscrupulous agents from representing athletes, which is an ongoing issue and has also been talked about with the SCORE Act. And then just supporting unanimity and getting all of these rules and ensuring that everybody's playing by the same rules. So I think a lot of this is basically what the SCORE Act wants. So I don't know if this is just a nice little shove in a direction or just an endorsement, because it covers a lot of the same pieces of what the SCORE Act would like. I don't know if the executive order aspect of it is going to now eliminate some Democrats from wanting to sign with the SCORE Act. So yes, as you said, by God, here comes Donald Trump's music, and he's running down to the ring to let his thoughts be known.
Yes, I'm sure, Tony, in these divided times, I'm sure our friends in Washington will come together to solve the problems. That seems to be the spirit that is pervading our nation's capital now and forever. So yes, we will see whether which of these, Tony, we will finally decide which of these three branches is the best. Will it be the executive? Will it be the legislative? Will it be the judicial? Only one way to find out: by watching what happens with the future of college sports. What a time to be alive.
SummerSlam.
Love it. Love it. Let's just decision 25 semicolon SummerSlam. I'm all for it. Let's see what happens with the future of college sports. And whichever branch is the best and solves this problem, we will find out all together at BuckeyeHuddle.com. And then when we do, we'll actually get to cover some football too. Won't that be fun to cover actual sports and not just politics? Can't wait. So this did feel like, I know these shows are not probably everyone's favorite, but this does feel like, this is the how the sausage gets made kind of show. Why are things the way they are? Well, this is why things are the way they are. How are things going to be in the next 6 to 12 months? Well, we're going to try and figure that out together. And when we do, we'll do that together at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We got our whole team covering the Buckeyes. And we're ready to head out to Las Vegas to cover the Buckeyes and the rest of the Big Ten for Big Ten Media Days. That'll be coming up next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then fall camp opens just about a week after that. The college football season is almost here. We will be covering it all for you at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.